You know, the germ theory, you know how it came to be the backbone of Western medicine. Do you know?
The Rockefeller thing?
Well, that came after this. But yeah, the Rockefeller pushed pushed that whole narrative. But it was before that in the 18 what was it 1887 or something 89 where uh, Louis Pasteur stood before the French Academy of Science and said, I've realized the origin of all disease, and it's the germ theory. And he took credit for the germtheory, which, of course, had been around for centuries at that point. But there was another guy named Antoine Béchamp who was actually a real genius, whereas Pasteur was a charlatan and used to he basically stole all these good ideas that he never had from Antoine Béchamp, including how fermentation works, how they had diseases in the grapes of at the time, so how to deal with that disease, and also having to do with where they make the silk, like silkworms and stuff. That also was another thing that Béchamp figured out. And then, Pasteur, who's on the same committee, ends up reading these papers and basically kind of putting his own spin on it and getting credit for, the fermentation, the silkworm, the wine thing. Like each thing, he becomes more and more famous. And until he's able to sit down in front of Napoleon in 1863, Napoleon III, he said, I will eliminate all disease. I will eradicate all human disease. He was an arrogant guy, and he was a complete fraud. And
Isn't that a bummer?
And Pasteur believed the germ theory, obviously. That's the theory that he pushed, right? And then Béchamp believed in the terrain theory. Now, that's what I believe. The terrain theory, the germ theory, obviously, a pathogen, a germ, a virus, whatever, it lands in your cornflakes or on your eyeball or whatever. It gets inside you.
Right.
And then in this pristine blank slate environment, it causes damage, maybe sickness, and eventually death. To me, I don't believe this theory as much as I do the terrain theory, which is that your health is dependent upon your internal biological terrain and your internal filthiness or cleanliness. And so that's what I believe is where people's immune system gets messed up from what they're consuming. And in a nutshell, that's why I believe in Béchamp's theory as opposed to the germ theory. And at least it's got to be both. At the very least, it's got to be both.
I would imagine it's both. We know for a fact that one of the main factors in eliminating diseases in North America was when they started having hygiene and when they started having flowing water and sewage systems, and that just having cleanliness. I mean, most cities at the turn of the century were filled with filth. I mean, during the smallpox epidemic, people lived terrible. They lived in filth. When you had various, like there's a bunch of different diseases that could be attributed to poor hygiene. Poor hygiene, no access to antibiotics, no access to any kind of medicine. And we all attribute that just to a disease broke out. But why did the disease break out? Well, the people were living in filth. There was no running water. They didn't have any sewage systems. They didn't have any sort of antibiotics, and including like people talk about the Spanish flu. Like, if the Spanish flu broke out today, we'd be fucked. No, we wouldn't. First of all, we have antibiotics now. Spanish flu would be killed quickly. It's the real factor was all these diseases that people were getting because of the infection that could be cured by antibiotics. But
I'm not a big antibiotics guy.
At all?
No, I mean, I took them. One time. I credit them with really having saved me. But
they'll save you under certain conditions.
right. If your immune system's shot and there's nothing else you can do to bolster your immune system in a short amount of time, where whatever is happening quickly.
But you're
then
saying
I
like
think,
ubiquitous use of antibiotics for everything.
yeah, where it's just like
that's probably not a
it's
good
like
idea.
a Pez dispenser that
Right.
it does affect your immune system adversely, especially continuous use of antibiotics.
Are you a vegan?
I'm a vegan,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I really my real belief is in raw living food, because I feel like, we talk a lot about you getting your protein or you getting your carbs or whatever. I think the most important component of the food are the enzymes.
Mm-hmm.
The enzymes being the life force of the food,
Mm-hmm.
and the enzymatic activities, your eyes blinking, your heart beating, those are enzymatic activities. If it wasn't for enzymes, we couldn't do them.
Yeah.
Like, enzymes are highly important. Anything you cook over 118 degrees for a minute, you destroy the enzymes and most of the nutritional value of the food.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm a believer in raw living food. And I just know from when I've had lots of experiments for when I was doing it and when I was eating a lot of cooked food, and you can really feel the difference. There's no question about it, supporting the energy of the body better than anything. But meanwhile, I agree that it's very hard to avoid eating cooked food because it's delicious.
Yeah.
But to have as much raw as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing, and I try to get a lot of sprouts and microgreens and everything, and then I also eat cooked food.
Do you take algae or anything where you're getting B vitamins? Do you think?
Yeah, I take I do take I take niacin. I should take more of a comprehensive B vitamin probably, but I do take reishi, and I take ginseng every day. Yeah.
So
There-
healthy mushrooms.
Yeah, I believe
Lion's
in the
mane,
healthy
yeah.
mushrooms, and
I take all that stuff too.
yeah, there's a cool. Yeah, I got to get on the regular medicinal mushrooms. Those are crucial.
Yes.
And especially
Yeah.
brain repair,
Mhm.
which is, I think, something I need.